Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds. We've come to the end of the week, and we've got one more game in the NBA Finals. You know, before you go, I want to say everyone's always pushing East-West Coast, East-West Coast. I want to say thank you to the Midwest teams for giving us one hell of a Finals.
Oklahoma City wasn't aggressive. They got the ball picked on a number of occasions, a huge number of turnovers. They didn't play with a lot of spirit. Lose 108-91 to the Indiana Pacers, so the series is now tied at a game apiece, at 3 apiece. So the seventh game and final game will be Sunday evening in Oklahoma City. The fellow who led the scoring for the Pacers was Obi Toppin. I know you're saying, who? Well, Obi Toppin is 6'9". He's a kid out of Dayton. He was a number one draft choice a couple of years ago by the New York Knicks and finally ended up playing with the Indiana Pacers. Good player, certainly was, but he had to take control of the scoring because Halliburton couldn't handle it. He did have 14 points, but Halliburton was there. He was on the court. His spiritual effectiveness certainly helped Indiana because they played with a lot of spirit. They're going to have to play with more than that coming up on Sunday night, but Oklahoma City's going to have to show up too, and they did not in their game. So we'll see what happens in Game 7, but that definitely, Mike, will be the final NBA game of the year.
Yeah, no question about it. I wonder if the Thunder just said, hey, we want to do this at home and have a big party, so let's just wait it out. I know.
Can't believe that.
Well, you never know. It is a little bit of a rigged NBA league. Either way, the player draft is coming up after the lottery a couple weeks ago. When's the date on that?
It's Wednesday and Thursday. They hold the keep in mind, there are only 2 rounds to the NBA draft. And the first one, because there are, after all, 32 teams involved, and there are over 60 rounds, or 60 players, I should say, chosen of the 2 rounds. First round is Wednesday night, and they hold it at the Barclays Center, which is the home of the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA. Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So the first round will be Wednesday and the second round on Thursday. The Dallas Mavericks have the overall top pick because they won the ping pong lottery is what I call it. They put the eligible teams in a big bowl and they turn on the air sprayer or whatever they have. And the ping pong balls go over and the Dallas Mavericks won it. So without question they will choose Cooper Flagg from Duke as their first choice, I would think. But it is coming up Wednesday night and Thursday.
And we'll see where those guys are going to end up. Last but not least, before I ask you this question, it really gives you the perspective of how tough that course was that they played last weekend. Because now you look at the leaderboard for the Travelers Championship, and man, it's just night and day difference on those courses.
It's not even close. The course and most of the courses in the USA are not anywhere near what Oakmont was. Only one player at Oakmont broke par, and that was the winner, J.J. Spawn. Yeah. So there's a tie for the lead, and the Travelers is a very big tournament. It's a signature event. It's $20 million purse. All the big names are playing there, and it's a points. The FedEx points are started with this tournament, and then they end with the championship in Atlanta at the end of August and into September. Anyway, this is hardly Oakmont. Austin Eckroat and, of course, Scottie Scheffler all have the first round lead at 8 under par 62. They tie at 8 under par 62. 62 is unheard of at Oakmont. There are 3 others, including Rory McIlroy, who are at 6 under 64. That's how good the scores are. But if they were that far under in the first round, imagine what they're going to be from here on in, because it's apparently going to be fairly warm in Cromwell, Connecticut, and those scores are going to really plummet when that's the case. Anyway, that's the Travelers, a tie at the end of the first round.
Cardinals looking good in South Chicago.
They had to sweep this team.
They had to look good.
This team, Mike, I can't emphasize or articulate, the Chicago White Sox are just plain bad. They are not a good baseball team at all. I know their record's a little bit better than the Colorado Rockies, but not much. Now, this team lost 131 games last year to set the record. That record could be broken this year, but that's beside the point. While the White Sox are maybe an nth of a degree better from what they were last year, they're still not very good. Here the Cardinals go in with 3 games at the Guaranteed Rate Stadium and sweep them. They had to sweep them, although yesterday was very much in doubt. Chicago led by a score of 4-2 going into the 8th inning. We knew the Cardinals were going to rally. They're just too good a team not to. scored 3 runs, got a Wilson Contreras home run, and won the first game 5-4. The second game, the Cardinals are up 6-1. 6-1 in the 8th inning. And somehow, someway, the White Sox put together a little bit of a rally. They load the bases, and here comes, and I find this to be very surprising, Andrew Benintendi. Now, he's a ranked guy. This is an All-American at Arkansas, and he is on the bench for the White Sox. Well, obviously, what they're doing is giving the younger players a chance. But anyway, Andrew Benintendi comes up as pinch hitter, first pitch in the seats, grand slam. And the game is suddenly tied at 6-6. Forced into extra innings, Cardinals won it in the 10th inning, 8-6. So the Redbirds do get a sweep. They had to get this sweep because they've got the Cincinnati Reds this weekend in St. Louis and then the Chicago Cubs. And that's the start of next week in St. Louis. 4-game series. That will be very pivotal, I should say, for both teams.
Royals kind of in the same boat, and they pulled off the same sweep as well, just in a different part of the country.
Beat the Texas Rangers 4-1 and swept that series. That's really, really encouraging, too, for Kansas City. Michael Wacha, great pitching job. But the big key is, who do you suppose hit his first career home runs? Jack Caglione. And he hit 2 of them, and they were both well over 400 feet. Well, the distance doesn't make any difference. That's for the ego. They were home runs, and this kid can hit the home runs. I think maybe, I'm hoping anyway, that breaks him out of, well, it's a rookie slump that he was in, getting used to big league pitching, and indeed, maybe it did. We'll find out. Caglione, 2 home runs, and a 4-1 win for Kansas City. Springfield Cardinals clinch the first half division. And they did it last night, their 40th win. They knocked off the Corpus Christi Hooks by a score of 7-1. Springfield's run away. They are the top team in the Texas League, period. And they've won the first division. And I say that because they've clinched. The first division has, Mike, 3 more games remaining in it. So, yeah, they're in. They are into the playoffs. Now, the second half of the season doesn't begin with any kind of ceremony or anything like that. It's simply a number, and that'll begin the latter part of next week as well. But Springfield and Corpus Christi will conclude their series this weekend here in town.
And it sucks because I was hoping we'd be talking about Arkansas going into a game series this weekend, but that is not happening. It's LSU and
Coastal Carolina. Now, fans are saying, what? LSU will run over this team. Au contraire.
Yeah, au contraire is right.
Coastal Carolina is very good, folks. They're a former national champ. They won the championship, the NCAA championship in 2016. I looked at their overall scheme of things and how many players they put in the big leagues, and it's not as many as the Bears have in it, but Coastal Carolina is still very good. They have an excellent program. They recruit mostly from down there. They're in the, I think they call it the American South Conference or something like that, whatever, but they play well, and they are called a unique nickname. Are you familiar with that? They are the Chanticleers. There's a reason why they're the Chanticleers, and we don't have time to get into it this morning, but it does involve where they're located, which is Conway, South Carolina. Anyway, Coastal Carolina and LSU, they play tomorrow night, Sunday afternoon, and if necessary, Monday night.
You know, back in the day, being from around here, you say a word like that, get you beat up. That's probably the first time I ever heard.
You're a what?
Chanticleer? Did you just make that up? Have a good weekend.